In Asterisk Played Dirty 2025, Asterisk, the very first images feel like a whisper rising from the asphalt, heat shimmering off a desert road, a stolen convoy slicing to the horizon, and a voiceover that sounds like a man already halfway to his own ruin. It is a film built on the pulse of desert wind and the hunger of criminals who dream in dollar signs. But beneath this poetic grit lies something more engineered, a high-octane heist film constructed as an capital experiment where every explosion, chase, and character flaw represents a calculated wager by filmmakers determined to prove that the mid-budget action thriller still has commercial muscle. From the moment production began, Asterisk Played Dirty Asterisk was framed as a hybrid, part classic caper, part psychological contest, part financial gamble. Reports place the film's budget in the $70-90 million approximate range, large enough to demand profitability, small enough to require ruthless efficiency. In an industry dominated by superhero spectacles and legacy franchises, a fresh IP heist film is itself a daring act of rebellion. Investors did not just fund stunts and star power, they funded an assertion that audiences still crave original worlds grounded in sweat, steel, and moral ambiguity. The plot orbits around Michael, a principled thief coerced into collaborating with a morally bankrupt businessman who treats crime as corporate strategy. Their mission: hijack a secretive shipment moving across North Africa, a job tangled in mercenary politics and shifting alliances. But the narrative is less about the logistics of theft and more about the psychology of pressure examining the invisible ledger inside each character, the debts they owe to loyalty, fear, ego, and survival. The film positions crime not as chaos, but as operational risk management, where every decision carries a cost. The studio crafted Asterisk Played Dirty Asterisk as more than entertainment. It was an opportunity to showcase emerging action film technologies. Drone-based cinematography, compact IMAX-certified digital rigs, and AI-assisted Provis pipelines were integrated from the first day of production. These choices weren't about novelty. They were about stretching the ROI of every production dollar. Drone systems allowed the team to capture sweeping desert chases without helicopter rentals. LED stages reduced the need for remote location night shoots. AI Provis accelerated rehearsal sessions. Every tool was selected to prove that cost discipline can coexist with cinematic ambition. Industry analysts noted the film's strategic timing. Positioned for early 2025, before summer's franchise storm, it aimed to occupy a gap in the release calendar underserved by high-adrenaline crime thrillers. The logic was simple: deliver a precision-engineered action film when no competitors are siphoning audience attention. This timing allowed marketing teams to maximize trailer impact, improving CPM efficiency while boosting opening weekend projections. The release strategy treated attention as currency, calculating exactly when and how to spend it. Narratively, Asterisk Played Dirty Asterisk taps into a cultural appetite for morally gray heroes, characters who live at the intersection of ethics and opportunity. The film leveraged this archetype while updating it with modern geopolitical sensibilities. Mercenary outfits behave like private equity firms with guns, governments outsource power to the highest bidder, and criminals operate like entrepreneurs, innovating under pressure. The story's world is a marketplace of danger, where alliances fluctuate like currencies and trust is an investment with diminishing returns. Early footage revealed a commitment to practical effects: dust, fire, metal, sweat, blended with controlled digital integration for seamless augmentation. This strategy mirrors a production financial philosophy: leverage authentic physical elements for emotional grounding, and apply CGI only where it enhances risk without inflating cost. The effect is organic intensity, the kind that viewers instinctively recognize as real, even before they consciously process why a scene feels more tactile than contemporary green screen action. Within Hollywood's evolving economic landscape, Asterisk Played Dirty Asterisk represents a counter-argument to the idea that originality is financial recklessness. It's a reminder that asterisk creativity, when paired with disciplined technical design and smart capital allocation, can outperform safe but stale sequels The film positions itself on the border between blockbuster and prestige action, a zone where strong word-of-mouth, tight pacing, and psychological nuance can generate long-tail profitability. Through this lens, the production isn't merely a movie, it is a case study in corporate courage. As its narrative unfolds, the audience is drawn into a world where heists are not just crimes but engineering puzzles, where escape routes are mapped like supply chains, trust is modeled like risk portfolios, and adrenaline is as carefully calibrated as a film's Dolby Atmos soundscape. This merging of art, tech, and strategy defines Play Dirty's identity. Every creative decision becomes a financial hypothesis, every character dynamic, a psychological investment, every action sequence, a technological demonstration. In this warm, reflective exploration, Play Dirty, 2025, emerges not just as a story about thieves and betrayal, but as a cinematic ledger, a record of decisions, gambles, losses, and wins. It reminds us that filmmaking is a high-risk negotiation between emotion and economics, belief and calculation, dream and data. And as the desert dust coils under the wheels of its armored vehicles, the film invites us to lean in and witness how chaos becomes choreography, how violence becomes value, and how one heist becomes a masterclass in cinematic intelligence. The first half of Play Dirty, 2025, unfolds like a fuse slowly burning toward an explosion, steady, deliberate, always threatening to outrun the men who lit it. We follow Michael, a thief defined not by greed but by precision, a man who treats crime like architecture. When the film opens, he is living quietly under an assumed identity, maintaining a fragile equilibrium built on discipline and distance. But equilibrium is expensive, and someone else has decided to collect the debt. A shadowy businessman named Gracewood forces Michael back into the criminal arena, leveraging old secrets that function like financial liens on his soul. Their mission is introduced with strategic elegance: intercept a covert shipment moving across the North African desert, a cargo so classified that both governments and mercenary syndicates pretend it does not exist. Early scenes focus on reconnaissance, drones skimming dunes, radios whispering fragmentary intel, satellite imagery distorted by heat waves. This setup phase operates like the R&D stage of a startup. The crew prototypes strategies, weighs risk against reward, and calculates margins of error. Each decision is a micro-investment in survival. The narrative momentum builds as Michael reunites with a fractured team of specialists, each bringing their own skill set and psychological liabilities. There is Riley, a driver whose reflexes mask a festering sense of guilt, Karim, a local fixer adept at navigating political minefields, and Anna, a logistics genius whose calm exterior conceals deep personal risk. Their early interactions are shaped by tension, the kind that formed when competence meets distrust. These dynamics reflect the emotional overhead of collaboration, the cost of aligning divergent motives under one volatile objective. As the crew gathers intel, the film lingers on the economic landscape they are operating within. Mercenary outfits behave like private corporations, charging premiums for territorial access. Government forces operate through contractors, blurring the line between state authority and private profit. Every checkpoint, bribe, or alliance is a negotiation framed through scarcity and leverage. The film uses these moments to illustrate a recurring theme. Conflict zones are marketplaces, and power is the only accepted currency. The first major set piece, a reconnaissance extraction gone wrong, demonstrates the film's commitment to practical intensity. When the team attempt to gather final intel from a contact embedded in a militia group, an unexpected betrayal triggers a chaotic escape through narrow desert streets. Dust cloud choke visibility, engine roars rattle the frame, and handheld camera work communicates the immediacy of danger. This sequence is more than spectacle, it is a stress test of team cohesion. In the language of behavioral economics, it exposes the opportunity cost of trust. After escaping, the crew regroups at a remote compound, where Michael confronts a moral pivot of the narrative. Gracewood has withheld critical information about the cargo. What was pitched as a high-risk heist now resembles a geopolitical powder keg. This revelation deepens Michael's internal conflict. He is not simply executing a job, but participating in a destabilizing corporate gamble. The screenplay uses this moment to draw parallels between criminal strategy and executive decision-making at the highest levels. Both worlds reward boldness, but both punish miscalculation with brutal efficiency. As they prepare for the intercept, the crew conduct rehearsals that resemble militarized engineering simulations. Anna models convoy movement on a digital tablet. Riley tests escape vectors with swift U-turn drills, and Carrie negotiates safe passage across tribal territories. These sequences highlight the film's love of process, of showing not just what characters do but how their intellectual framework shape every choice. This mirrors how product teams prototype in fast-paced industries, where iteration is the only path to innovation. The emotional core of the first half comes from Michael's growing suspicion that Gracewood sees a mission as expendable experimentation. In private conversations, Gracewood speaks with the cold detachment of an investor assessing risk portfolios. To him, the crew is a blend of assets, liabilities, and write-offs. This psychological tension heightens the stakes of every action, as Michael realizes he must measure not just external threats but the internal betrayal baked into the hierarchy of command. The midpoint of the film arrives when the crew finally makes visual contact with a target convoy, an armored column cutting across the dunes like a metal serpent. The atmosphere is electric with anticipation. The team synchronizes communication channels, calibrates weapons, and aligns their timeline with mathematical precision. At this moment, the film feels like a symphony of preparation. Every decision made in the first half converges into this single opportunity. Success could mean financial liberation. Failure could mean extinction. As the intercept sequence begins, an ambush built on smoke screens, misdirection, and razor-time maneuvers, the first half of Play Daty closes on a cliffhanger. The final shot captures Michael leaping onto the side of a transport truck, his silhouette swallowed by dust and gunfire. Suspense hangs in the air like static electricity. The heist has begun, but the true cost of playing dirty has not yet been paid. The second half of Play Daty 2025 begins in the heart of chaos, thus spiraling upward like a living creature, engines screaming, metal grinding against metal. Michael clings to the transport truck as bullets tear through the air around him. The ambush, designed as an elegant mechanism of timing and deception, immediately fractures under the pressure of real-world unpredictability. This moment becomes the emotional hinge of the film, a reminder that even the most beautifully engineered plans can collapse when human fear enters the equation. As Michael forces his way inside the armored transport, he discovers that the cargo is not technological hardware as he was led to believe. Instead, it is a captive intelligence operative whose existence is strategically inconvenient to certain international powers. This revelation transforms a heist from a financial gamble into a geopolitical provocation. The value of the mission shifts from money to leverage, and the crew must confront the psychological toll of becoming unwilling participants in global power games. Outside, the convoy erupts into full-blown warfare. Riley maneuvers a modified vehicle through sandstorms of gunfire, executing turns that defy both physics and fear. Anna's voice cracks through the radio, directing movement like a battlefield conductor, carrying coordinates with local fighters to create temporary escape corridors. In these scenes, the film's narrative rhythm becomes mathematical, beats of tension, release, recalibration, and renewal, mirroring how companies pivot under crisis when product launches encounter catastrophic disruption. When the team escapes the initial engagement, they retreat to an abandoned mining complex carved into the desert stone. It becomes their temporary headquarters, a place where adrenaline fades and the emotional cost begins to surface. The captive operative reveals that Gracewood's plan was never to complete the extraction. The crew was a distraction meant to draw fire while a separate unit completed a parallel mission. This disclosure detonates the trust structure within the team, leaving them fractured, angry, and forced to confront the economic and emotional exploitation they have endured. Michael, grappling with the realization that his sense of control was an illusion, undergoes a crisis of leadership. The film explores the psychology of betrayal with tender precision, how leaders internalize responsibility, how guilt becomes a mental tax, and how anger can fuse into clarity. He recognizes that their survival now depends on rejecting the mission entirely and forging their own path, one defined by dignity rather than obedience to a corrupt financier. Gracewood, monitoring the aftermath from a remote operations hub, deploys mercenaries to silence the crew. This escalation transforms a narrative from a heist thriller into a survival chess match, with each move reflecting opportunity cost. The crew must allocate dwindling resources, fuel, ammunition, time, while navigating shifting terrain and enemy strategies. This portion of the film highlights the economics of pressure. Scarcity forces innovation, and desperation sharpens intuition. The next major set piece occurs when the crew attempt to cross a dangerous border corridor at night. LED light rigs and infrared cinematography create a haunting visual palette. silhouettes flickering against moonlit sand, weapons glinting like shards of cold glass. As drones sweep overhead, the team creeps through dry riverbeds, only to be intercepted by a mercenary unit using thermal scopes. A brutal firefight erupts, blending strategy and instinct in equal measure. The battle ends with Karim gravely wounded, his sacrifice buying the team precious minutes to escape. In the aftermath, the emotional weight intensifies. Anna confronts Michael, demanding to know whether his loyalty is to the mission, the money, or the people beside him. Their dialogue becomes a study in moral economics, how humans place value on loyalty, safety, and justice, and how those values clash under duress. This exchange deepens the film's thematic resonance, grounding the spectacle in intimate human truth. As the story accelerates toward its climax, Michael decides to turn the tables on Gracewood. Using the captive operative's knowledge and Anna's logistical expertise, the crew launches a final assault on Gracewood's Desert Command base. The sequence is a masterclass in architectural action design, tunnels collapsing, fuel lines igniting, surveillance systems overloaded. Each movement is executed with precision, a demonstration of how chaos can become choreography when people unite under shared purpose. The confrontation between Michael and Gracewood is quiet compared to the preceding explosions, a stark contrast that underscores the film's psychological core. Gracewood frames betrayal as strategy, collateral damage as necessity. Michael counters with a truth the financier cannot compute, that the most valuable currency is choice, and he refuses to be an expendable asset. When the facility erupts in flames, Michael and the surviving team members escape in an armored SUV, battered but unbroken. The second half concludes with the crew disappearing into the vastness of the desert, their future uncertain but their autonomy reclaimed. The camera pulls back as the horizon swallows them, leaving a lingering sense of resilience. The heist was never truly about the cargo, it was about the emotional and ethical cost of playing dirty, and the reward of choosing integrity in a world that profits from its absence. In Play Dirty, character psychology is not decorative, it's the engine oil that keeps this heist machine humming, slipping, grinding, and ultimately revealing the fragile interior of every human involved. The film understands that criminal enterprises thrive on the same behavioral economics as modern corporations: incentives, pressure, cognitive biases, and the silent mathematics of trust. When we step inside this world, we are not simply watching thieves maneuver a high-risk operation. We are watching people negotiate with their own impulses, traumas, and unspoken opportunity costs. That is the true architecture of the movie's emotional engineering. Eddie Murphy's Marcus Clay is the most fascinating psychological hub in this ecosystem. On the surface, he's a veteran thief with charm, wit, and an almost old-school dignity. But beneath that sheen lies a man performing internal calculus every second. He is constantly weighing asterisk risk versus redemption asterisk loyalty versus survival asterisk, and asterisk pride versus pragmatism star. In behavioral economics, we call this a lifetime of compensatory decision-making. Every choice tries to recalibrate past losses. Marcus is a man who has lived long enough to understand that a single error can compound like interest in the worst direction. This gives his humor a reflective softness. He isn't joking to distract others. He is joking to remind himself that he still controls a narrative. That emotional restraint becomes the psychological backbone of the entire crew. Pete Davidson's character, Jackson, operates on the opposite end of the behavioral spectrum. He is volatility shaped into a human body, the embodiment of present bias, the cognitive flaw that makes a person chase the thrill of now at the expense of later. Every impulsive decision he makes, every risk he takes without running the numbers, becomes a narrative demonstration of what economists call the cost of impatience. Jackson wants to be respected instantly, rewarded instantly, validated instantly, and that psychological urgency becomes a liability inside a profession where patience is profit. His choices are not random. They are rooted in a young man's desperation to prove he matters in ways he cannot articulate. The dynamic between Marcus and Jackson becomes a behavioral case study: experience versus impulse, long-termism versus immediacy, emotional memory versus emotional reaction. Watching them collaborate is like watching two investment strategists argue, conservative stability meeting speculative volatility. The film uses this tension not to create cheap conflict, but to explore how human beings negotiate trust under pressure. When both characters face moments of moral strain, the heist itself becomes a metaphor for psychological liquidity, the ability to stay composed when everything around them destabilizes. Supporting characters add additional layers to this behavioral ecosystem. The crew members aren't merely accomplices, they are psychological archetypes. One is driven by sunk cost fallacy, unable to leave the criminal world because it's convinced it's already invested too much to walk away. Another demonstrates loss aversion, terrified of taking even a minor risk because she fears one more mistake will break her completely. Every decision they make echoes principles studied in behavioral finance, the distortions of emotion, the illusions of control, the dangerous belief that luck can be engineered. The film uses these characters as emotional case studies, demonstrating how crime is seldom about greed. More often, it is about trying to escape internal debt. What elevates Play Dirty is how it treats fear. Fear is not a loud emotion here. It is a quiet, constant hum inside every glance and every hesitation. Psychologists call this anticipatory stress, the type of pressure that slowly corrodes judgment long before the actual danger arrives. The movie portrays this with remarkable subtlety, a shaky inhale before a door is opened, a too long pause before answering a question, a forced smile that tries to hide a crumbling plan. Fear, in this narrative, behaves like compound interest. The longer it accumulates, the harder it is to escape. The antagonists in the story aren't just villains by plot. They are psychological triggers. They represent scarcity, dominance, and threat, three of the most powerful motivators in human decision-making. When they appear, the entire crew's behavioral patterns shift. Some become hyper-rational, others panic, and a few collapse into instinct. This distribution of responses mirrors real-world crisis simulations. Under pressure, people don't become new versions of themselves. They become more of what they already were. The film captures that truth with precision. What makes a movie emotionally resonant is how it uses the heist not as spectacle but as a psychological pressure cooker. Every twist forces characters to choose between their internal value systems and their external circumstances. Some choose loyalty even when it hurts them financially. Others choose betrayal, believing it is the only path to self-preservation. And a few cling to hope, a fragile but powerful motivator often undervalued in both economics and storytelling. As the plot thickens, the emotional cost of each decision grows heavier. Marcus, especially, becomes a symbol of cognitive burden. He carries the weight of past mistakes like an invisible ledger. When he tries to mentor Jackson, it isn't out of obligation. It is a man attempting to rewrite a younger version of himself. That reflective tenderness is what gives the film its warmth. Even in a world built on crime, the human spirit tries to search for meaning, direction, and redemption. By the time the second half of the film begins tightening its grip, the psychological stakes eclipse the financial ones. We are no longer watching a heist. We are watching a study of human fragility under pressure. Motivations shift, alliances wobble, and the emotional cost of every risk becomes painfully visible. The film reminds us that even the most strategic minds can be undone by guilt, fear, longing, or nostalgia. Behavioral economics teaches us that people do not make decisions based solely on profit. Emotion is always part of the equation. Play Dirty embraces this truth with elegant honesty. Ultimately, the film's greatest achievement is portraying crime not as glamour but as an emotional tax. Every character pays a different price. Some in fear, some in regret, some in fractured relationships, and some in the quiet loneliness of knowing that survival required them to betray a part of themselves. That emotional transparency becomes the film's most profound contribution to the heist genre. It shows that behind every robbery lies a human story, messy, vulnerable, and painfully real. Play Dirty 2025 * is a high-stakes exercise in mid-tier streaming economics, a heist film built not for box office domination, but for global digital reach. Produced by Amazon MGM Studios alongside Shane Black and Team Downey, the film was crafted for Prime Video, giving it access to hundreds of millions of potential subscribers without the risk of theatrical underperformance. Content reference OASite 0, index equals 0. While exact production costs aren't publicly confirmed, the film's ensemble cast, Mark Wahlberg, LaKeith Stanfield, Rosa Salazar, Keegan-Michael Key, Thomas Jane, and international production logistics, filming in Australia per people. Content reference OASite 1, index equals 1 suggests a significant mid-range budget. Their strategy likely leaned on efficient location deals, tax incentives, and a hybrid shooting model to contain costs while delivering high production value. Streaming-first models like this convert capital risk into subscription retention. Since * played Dirty * premiered on ** Prime Video on October 1st, 2025 ** content reference OA site 2, index equals 2. Its primary revenue driver isn't box office, but viewer acquisition and retention. The cost per new subscriber, especially in global markets, is balanced against long-term engagement from action fans, crime thriller lovers, and binge watchers. Marketing for the movie was designed to maximize streaming impact. Teasers and trailers were released through Prime Video channels and on social media, with early cuts focusing on the heist tension, character dynamics, and Shane Black's signature blend of action and humor. Influencer and digital-first promotions likely targeted crime thriller fans, while analytics teams measured engagement to optimize ad spend. Given the streaming model, * Play Dirty * probably relies on a hybrid IOI equation, not just subscriptions from launch, but lifetime value per viewer. By capturing a wide audience on day one, Prime Video can monetize through engagement metrics, watch time, rewatches, and platform stickiness, turning each viewer into a recurring value source beyond the one-time acquisition cost. Additional revenue levers include international licensing, merchandising, and possibly tie-ins. The Parker IP, from Donald Westlake's novels, has brand value for crime fiction fans. Successful streaming numbers can justify future spin-offs, sequels, or even licensed merchandise like Heist-themed collectibles or digital experiences. The production also seems to benefit from strategic executive backing. Shane Black's return and legacy as a writer-director bring prestige, while producers like Susan Downey and Robert Downey Jr. offer cross-industry credibility. Those relationships can reduce risk by leveraging trusted talent networks and increasing marketing leverage. Content reference OA site 3, index equals 3. Finally, the choice to stream primarily on Prime Video aligns with long-term business strategy. For Amazon, this film is part of a content portfolio that attracts and retains subscribers, competes in the action genre, and strengthens its global original catalog. For investors, * Play Dirty * represents a capital allocation into owned IP with streaming-first monetization, an increasingly popular model in the post-theatrical era. In summary, * Play Dirty * is less a theatrical blockbuster and more a ** strategic streaming investment ** built to generate subscriber value, leverage legacy IP, and deliver strong production values while containing risk. Through this lens, every car chase, betrayal, and heist is not just entertainment, it's economic architecture. The filmmaking technology behind * Play Dirty 2025 * is quietly sophisticated, blending digital precision with the gritty tactility expected from a heist thriller. While the film never flaunts its engineering, every frame feels shaped by a production team deeply aware of how modern tools can intensify tension, personality, and rhythm. The movie's aesthetic is built on the fusion of sleek digital clarity and old-school analog attitude, a combination that reflects Shane Black's creative DNA. Stylish, sharp, and unafraid to let the camera breathe. Prime Video projects are typically shot on ** AI Alexa LF** or ** AI Alexa Mini LF** systems for their large format sensors and cinematic latitude, and * Play Dirty * feels deeply rooted in that visual language. The Alexa LF's broad dynamic range allows the film to capture both shadow-drenched alleys and sunlit Australian exteriors with equal confidence. The glass likely use, large format AI signature primes or Cook special flays, gives faces warmth while keeping action scenes razor precise. These lenses have a way of making even the smallest glint of sweat or micro-expression emotionally readable, which matters immensely in a story built on deception, leverage, and hidden agendas. Lighting design plays a central psychological role. The film leans into soft contrast and color separation, using * cool tones for surveillance environments * and * warm interiors for cool interaction star. This subtle palette decision is a technological choice with emotional intent. Lights are diffused through large frames, emulating natural spill rather than harsh rigs, giving the movie an intimate, lived-in texture. When tension spikes, lights narrow, Shadows lengthen, and the color temperature shifts toward metallic blues, an unspoken signal of tightening stakes. Editing appears to be executed on **** Avid Media Composer ****, the industry standard for studio productions, especially action crime projects with overlapping storylines and intercut tension. The pacing is engineered to feel like compression and release, rapid assemblies during heist sequences, then slow, lingering beats for character conflict. That contrast is a form of emotional engineering. When the rhythm breathes, the audience subconsciously anticipates danger. When it accelerates, the viewer's cognition shifts toward instinctive tracking. It's a technological dance between storytelling and timing algorithms honed through decades of editorial practice. Color grading likely ran through **** Da Vinci Resolve ****, where the final look would have been shaped through a mix of subtle film emulation curves and modern digital cleanliness. The LUT pipeline appears calibrated around teal shadows, neutral highlights, and restrained saturation, a palette that gives a film a contemporary bite without drifting into artificial gloss. In high cinema, color is not decoration, it's behavioral direction. The cleanness of Resolve's control surfaces allows the film to maintain tonal consistency across multiple locations, times of day, and action conditions. The action choreography benefits from modern stabilization rigs, **** Ronin 2 ****, Steadicam M1 ****, and compact shoulder-mounted builds for kinetic intimacy. Chase scenes feel grounded rather than floaty, suggesting a deliberate choice to prioritize weight and friction. When characters run, the camera doesn't glide. It pursues hinting at danger and imbalance. That tactile movement style is a technological decision that supports narrative psychology. Crime is messy, unpredictable, and human. Drone cinematography plays a surgical role rather than a decorative one. These shots are used sparingly for establishing geography, warehouse complexes, rooftop paths, and the wide city grid that becomes a chessboard of the heist. Drones like the DJI Inspire 3 **** offer 8K aerial capture, which can be downsampled to deliver hyper-clean frames that anchor the story's sense of scale. The drone isn't there to impress, it's there to orient the viewer before the chaos begins. Practical effects help the film maintain authenticity. Explosions, glass breaks, and vehicle damage feel real because they are real, enhanced digitally only for safety and continuity. This hybrid approach combines physical energy with the precision of **** Houdini FX and **** Nuke compositing ****, ensuring every effect lands with weight. Audiences may not consciously register the difference, but their brains do. The mix of real physics and clean digital stitching creates a believable world where consequences feel unavoidable. Sound technology is equally integral. Dialogue, footsteps, and fabric rustles are captured with high-fidelity boom and lav MIC setups, then layered in **** Avid Pro Tools **** to sculpt spatial dynamics. Low-frequency rumbles during high-pressure scenes subtly stimulate the body's stress response. Crisp high-end details, keys, locks, metallic clicks, become psychological triggers. The sound mix uses 360-degree architecture to create invisible pressure, the kind that makes viewers lean forward without knowing why. Metadata workflows and cloud-backed production pipelines likely played a huge role given Prime Video's infrastructure. With multi-location shoots and large ensemble scenes, the production benefits heavily from synced timecode, real-time dailies review, and cloud storage for editorial teams working across continents. These invisible technological systems are the circulatory channels of modern filmmaking. Without them, a project like Play Dirty would lose both efficiency and creative responsiveness. VFX is used not for spectacle but for seamless realism, removing rigs, altering skies, adding signage, or stitching separate plates into continuous motion. The best visual effects are the ones the viewer never notices, and Play Dirty embraces this philosophy. Invisible VFX allows the story to stay grounded while still benefiting from digital precision. Ultimately, the film's technological choices reflect a balanced equation. Maximize immersion, minimize artificiality. Every camera movement, lighting cue, digital composite, and mixdown exists not to distract but to deepen emotional involvement. In the world of high cinema, where trust fractures, plans mutate, and danger moves quickly, technology becomes a quiet partner enabling clarity tension, and authenticity. The production management behind Play Deity 2025 is a portrait of modern studio logistics, an intricate mesh of scheduling discipline, cost efficiency, union coordination, risk mitigation, and creative fluidity. Even though the movie carries the swagger of a loose, character-driven heist thriller, every day on set was governed by precise corporate rhythm. This is where filmmaking becomes a hybrid of industrial engineering and artistic improvisation, a system where every hour burned is capital burned, and every minute saved becomes invisible profit. Because the movie was produced by Amazon MGM Studios and premiering directly on Prime Video, the production's logistical backbone aligns with streaming economics. Streaming productions operate under a dual mandate, high production value, controlled overhead to that means schedules are tighter, contingency plans more aggressive, and daily output more strictly monitored. A theatrical blockbuster might afford multiple reshoot days or extended location windows, but a streaming thriller must make its days count with almost surgical precision. Studio economics demand that efficiency becomes part of the creative architecture. Shooting in Australia brought powerful economic advantages. Regions such as Queensland and New South Wales offer generous tax rebates, location incentives, and workforce subsidies, strategic financial levers that significantly lower total production cost. These rebates can return between 16% and 30% of eligible expenditures, essentially functioning as an IOI booster built directly into the geography. From a studio standpoint, this means the choice of location isn't only artistic, it's economic engineering. By choosing a region where money stretches further, Play Dirty begins with a built-in reduction in capital risk. The production schedule appears structured around a mid-tier timeline, likely 35 to 50 shooting days. That range is common for ensemble thrillers with multiple locations, stunt days, and interior dialogue scenes. Time management becomes an orchestration challenge, coordinating cast availability, balancing day-night sequences, blocking street closures, and timing stunts to safe weather windows. Every scene has a carrying cost, lighting, truck rentals, transport teams, unionized crew hours, police coordination, location fees, and the assistant directors manage this with the same mindset as project managers in high-pressure corporate environments. The leadership hierarchy on production like this functions like a high-speed corporation. At the top, the director, the producers, and studio executives who share decision-making power like a hybrid board. Below them, department heads, cinematography, production design, sound, stunts, VFX, each overseeing teams that can number from dozens to hundreds. The efficiency of this pyramid determines whether production meets or misses its milestones. Effective communication is a currency. A single miscommunication about a call sheet or location shift can delay shooting by hours and cost tens of thousands of dollars. Shane Black's directing style emphasizes sharp timing, punchy dialogue, and controlled chaos, meaning the production had to prepare for frequent adjustments. He is known for creative spontaneity, rewriting a line on the spot, altering a blocking choice, chasing more emotionally resonant angle. Production managers compensate for this fluidity by building buffer zones into schedules. These buffers act like financial hedges, small time reserves embedded across the calendar so that creative flexibility doesn't trigger cost overruns. Stunt coordination is another logistical pillar. Heist films require complex choreography, vehicle maneuvers, break-ins, foot pursuits, confrontation beats, and each one carries insurance implications. Risk assessment teams analyze every stunt, calculating safety procedures, harness setups, and rehearsal cycles. Insurance premiums rise or fall depending on the danger level of sequences. This is where studio economics becomes surprisingly intimate. Even the angle of a jump or the speed of a chase can influence budget variance. Crew safety isn't just a moral priority, it is a financial necessity. Crew allocation is also a delicate balancing act. A production like Play Dirty employs a few hundred workers, from grips and gaffers to art directors, medics, caterers, and transportation captains. Every department has peak days and light days, and production managers orchestrate staffing like a variable labor force. Too many crew members on a low-intensity day waste money. Too few on a heavy day compromises quality. The trick is finding the equilibrium where quality, time, and cost intersect. In economic terms, this is labor optimization wrapped in creative mission. On-set logistics become especially complex in a film with multiple heist beats. These sequences often require overnight shoots, practical effects crews, street shutdowns, drone operators, and stunt doubles. When working nights, productions pay increased rates due to union rules. That means the timing of night shoots becomes a financial chess game. Do too many in a row and the labor cost balloon. Do too few and narrative continuity suffers. Production management solves this puzzle through sequencing, grouping night scenes in tightly controlled clusters so the financial impact is concentrated and predictable. Data management has become a crucial component of modern production. With high-resolution footage captured daily, sometimes multiple terabytes, digital imaging technicians and data wranglers function like IT engineers. They ensure footage is backed up, mirrored, transferred, logged, and accessible for remote viewing by studio teams. Amazon's infrastructure likely allowed for cloud-integrated dailies review, giving executives and editors near real-time oversight. This rapid feedback loop reduces the risk of having to reshoot lost or compromised footage, protecting both schedule and budget. Studio economics don't end when production wraps. Post-production scheduling becomes a secondary battlefield of time versus cost. Editorial, sound mixing, scoring, color correction, ADR, visual effects, and QC testing must align with Prime Video's global release calendar. Missing a deadline could delay international rollout windows, forcing marketing teams to re-spend on promotion. To avoid this, post-supervisors create pipelines not unlike SaaS development cycles, milestone deadlines, iteration reviews, and parallel processing across multiple departments. Time is capital, and every delay has a measurable economic footprint. Distribution strategy, the decision to release on Prime Video rather than in theaters, simplifies some logistical burdens while amplifying others. No theatrical print costs, no box office competition windows, no global physical distribution. But there are new pressures: platform placement, algorithm optimization, global subtitling, accessibility compliance, bitrate checks, and device-to-device compatibility testing across millions of screens. It's logistical engineering on a scale traditional cinema rarely sees. In the end, *Play Dirty* succeeds as a model of contemporary production efficiency. It's not just a film, it's a financial organism. Its scheduling, workforce management, resource allocation, risk mitigation, and global distribution pipelines reflect a blend of corporate strategy and artistic ambition. Beneath the charm of the performances and the swagger of the heist, there's an industrial engine that never stops running, quiet, precise, and absolutely essential. Play Dirty, 2025, is not a historical film in the traditional sense, but it borrows heavily from real-world criminal psychology, law enforcement methodology, economic motivations, and the practical science of modern heists. Rather than recreating a specific era or real case, the film builds a believable ecosystem using research-based authenticity. Its world feels grounded because the tension, tactics, and criminal dynamics echo real patterns documented in criminology, behavioral economics, and security studies. The heist genre demands a form of functional realism, a commitment to making the mechanics feel plausible, even if the story itself is fictional. Play Dirty* achieves this by rooting its narrative in the ** economics of modern organized crime **. Characters discuss logistics, surveillance, time windows, asset flows, and risk exposure the same way real syndicates do. Whether it's the planning rituals, the scouting of weak points, or the crew's internal decision-making, the film aligns more closely with ** contemporary security research ** than stylized Hollywood exaggeration. Marcus Clay, portrayed by Eddie Murphy, represents a recognizable archetype found in criminological literature, the veteran operator shaped by experience, discipline, and loss. His behavior reflects principles associated with criminal rationality, a term economists use to describe decision-making where perceived risk, reward, and survival incentives form a personal calculus. His slow, reflective judgment matches profiles seen in longitudinal studies of career criminals. This is not a man improvising from ego. He calculates from memory, pattern recognition, and accumulated scars. Jackin, Pete Davidson's character functions as a scientifically accurate embodiment of impulsivity-driven crime star. Neuropsychology records that young offenders often act under heightened dopamine reward cycles, valuing immediate satisfaction over long-term outcomes. Jackson's rash decisions, his need to prove himself, and his susceptibility to provocation reflect these documented patterns. He isn't unrealistic. He is statistically recognizable. His psychology mirrors what forensic experts describe as reactional offenders, those whose crimes escalate from stress and emotion rather than structured planning. The technological elements of the heist also demonstrate strong research grounding. Surveillance patterns, hacking sequences, and infiltration tactics avoid the wildly exaggerated, instant execution style seen in less grounded action films. Instead, Play Dirty shows multi-layered security systems, staggered time delays, plausible camera blind spots, and the realistic stress of bypassing modern alarms. While dramatized for pacing, the underlying mechanisms track closely with real security protocols used in high-value warehouses, armored transports, and financial facilities. The film's depiction of law enforcement is similarly grounded in reality. Instead of omniscient cops who magically appear at narrative convenience, investigators in Play Dirty behave like pressure professionals juggling limited information, political pressure, and departmental constraints. Their workflow reflects actual policing methods, data triangulation, surveillance review, behavioral analysis, and resource allocation challenges. Scenes where officers debate suspects' motives or assess risk trajectories echo the real-world cognitive load of high-stakes policing. The emotional realism of criminal interactions is one of the film's most accurate accomplishments. Criminologists frequently note that betrayal, mistrust, and hierarchy tension are the leading causes of failed heists, not police intervention. Play Dirty embraces this truth. Alliances fracture not because of plot contrivances, but because people under pressure revert to deeply ingrained coping mechanisms. Fear amplifies suspicion. Stress collapses loyalty. Hope distorts logic. These themes align with documented findings from interviews with former criminals and behavioral economists who study risk-taking environments. The film avoids exaggerated gunplay and physics-defying stunts. Chases maintain believable speed and force. Fights show fatigue, imbalance, and sloppy desperation, characteristics a forensic specialist describe as authentic markers of real altercations. Even the injuries reflect accurate trauma responses. Shallow breaths, shaky hands, delayed speech, and the unmistakable tension of adrenaline crash. These physiological details show the filmmaker's respect for realism rather than spectacle. Occupational science plays a subtle role in the movie's accuracy. Scenes involving lockpicking, safecracking, or tactical entry demonstrate awareness of how professionals approach these tasks. Movements are deliberate, tools are realistic, and timing reflects actual difficulty rather than Hollywood shortcuts. In sequences involving vehicles, the physics are restrained enough to maintain credibility. Body roll, braking inertia, and environmental obstacles behave as expected. Viewers may not consciously analyze these details, but their realism supports the film's immersive tension. The film also adheres to emotional and sociological truths about criminal communities. Crew members exhibit traits documented in studies of shared risk bonds, where individuals form temporary families under pressure. The affection, irritation, and unspoken loyalty between them mirror social patterns seen in real high-risk collaboration. The movie understands that heists are not simply crimes. They are temporary ecosystems built on trauma, ambition, necessity, and fleeting brotherhood. From a scientific perspective, the film's portrayal of stress under pressure aligns with psychophysiological research. Dilated pupils, shallow breaths, fragmented dialogue, and rigid posture are signs of heightened cortisol response, and the actors perform them with remarkable fidelity. Scenes where characters freeze or hesitate reflect cognitive overload, not dramatic hesitation. Neuroscientists describe this freeze response as an ancient survival mechanism, and the film incorporates it with striking respect for biological truth. The movie's greatest historical and scientific accuracy is its treatment of cause and consequence ***. Every action, good or bad, has weight. A poorly timed risk changes everything. A betrayal triggers cascading failure. A moment of cowardice reshapes the entire crew's fate. This mirrors the real mathematics of crime. Small errors multiply, social dynamics fracture, and the system collapses. The film's authenticity lies not in replicating specific events, but in replicating the psychological and logistical reality of high-risk human behavior. Visually, Asterisk Play Dirty Asterisk leans into a modern grit-to-polish aesthetic. Clean camera rigs capturing dirty moral landscapes. The cinematography uses wide, patient lenses that let tension breathe, rather than resorting to frantic cutting. Nighttime scenes, especially those set in industrial zones and neon-washed alleys, use reflective surfaces, wet asphalt, glass, polished metal, to amplify unease. It's a look that feels both contemporary and reminiscent of 1970s outlaw cinema, blending sharp digital clarity with old-school shadows. Lighting choices communicate character psychology. Marcus, Eddie Murphy, is often lit from the side, giving his face a half-shadowed, half-exposed look, symbolizing a man trying to step out of a life he's still tethered to. Jackson, Pete Davidson, in contrast, appears under harsher, unfiltered lighting that highlights impulsive energy and restless instability. These visual cues subtly reinforce the generational and emotional divide between them. The film's color palette leans into muted grays, asphalt blacks, and metallic blues, tones associated with urban decay and moral ambiguity. Splashes of warm color appear only in rare moments of trust, laughter, or levity among the crew. This intentional contrast acts as a visual heartbeat. Warmth is fleeting, danger is constant. Editing stays faithful to the tone of the narrative, confident but never showy. Sequences involving planning are clipped and efficient, mirroring the professionalism expected in a high-stakes heist. Action scenes, however, adopt a slightly looser rhythm, allowing chaos to feel uncontrolled without losing clarity. This balance keeps the audience oriented while preserving realism. Sound design is one of the film's strongest achievements. Gunshots aren't oversized Hollywood booms. They are sharp, uncomfortable cracks. Footsteps echo in empty loading docks with unsettling accuracy. The rumble of engines in narrow alleyways feels grounded, not theatrical. Even background ambience, buzzing fluorescents, distant sirens, the metallic clank of shifting tools adds to the film's immersive tension. The score combines atmospheric synth layers with subtle percussive pulses. Rather than dictating emotion, it sits beneath the surface like an anxious heartbeat, reminding us that every decision is costing someone something. When the score does rise, especially during the highest critical moments, it does so with restraint, enhancing stakes without overwhelming the storytelling. Production design deserves special praise. Warehouses feel authentically cluttered. Safe houses are half-lived, half-abandoned spaces. Crew tools and equipment aren't clean props. They are worn, scratched, and visibly used. These textures make the world feel lived in, as though decades of criminal history have settled into each surface. Costume design strengthens character arcs. Marcus was muted, functional clothing, nothing flashy, everything chosen for utility. Jackson's wardrobe reflects the opposite, casual streetwear with attention-grabbing patterns, hinting at a man still performing for the world rather than surviving it. Secondary characters wear layers that signal their social environments. Security jackets, mechanic overalls, thrift store coats. Nothing looks like a movie outfit. Everything looks like real people living real economic realities. The camera's movement mirrors emotional shifts. In moments of distrust, it stays back, observing from a distance. During conflict, it pushes in closely, almost uncomfortably, forcing us to feel trapped with the characters. And in the quiet, reflective scenes, it stabilizes into gentle stillness, giving weight to silence. Practical effects enhance believability. Explosions are small and focused, not overblown. Vehicle collisions show metal bending realistically. Blood effects are restrained, highlighting consequence rather than spectacle. This commitment to physical realism helps the movie feel more grounded than typical heist fare. Combined, these cinematic elements create a film that is not just entertaining, but textured star. Every frame, every sound, every shadow contributes to a story about survival, loyalty, and the brutal economics of crime. Nothing is wasted. Everything is intentional. The emotional stakes of the narrative are reflected in the very architecture of the film's craft. In Play Dirty, 2025, Sound is more than an accessory. It is a silent architect shaping tension, guiding attention, and amplifying psychological stakes. The soundscape operates like an invisible financial ledger, where every sonic investment yields measurable emotional IOI. Dialogue, environmental cues, and score combine to create an immersive atmosphere that communicates risk, urgency, and vulnerability without ever overtly stating it. The film's sound design emphasizes clarity and spatial awareness. Dialogue is carefully placed within its environment, ensuring that characters' conversations maintain intimacy even amid chaos. Microphones and recording techniques likely included shotgun booms for precision, lavaliers for mobility, and specialized on-camera rigs for stunt sequences. Each choice allows the audience to perceive proximity, weight, and movement, creating a subconscious mapping of space that mirrors a crew's tactical awareness. Foley artistry is meticulous. Footsteps crunch over gravel, dust swirls audibly, fabric rustles, and tools click with tangible precision. These elements are more than texture. They function as subtle emotional indicators, signaling unease, urgency, and psychological strain. Every rustle, tap, or scrape adds to the investment of attention, ensuring viewers remain subconsciously engaged with both character and environment. Gunfire and vehicle sounds follow a philosophy of measured realism. Weapons have distinct acoustic signatures, explosions carry resonance appropriate to confined spaces, and engines growl with believable inertia. Unlike bombastic blockbuster amplification, these effects are tuned to reinforce spatial credibility, heightening immersion and sustaining tension. From a psychological perspective, this approach increases audience stress levels at key narrative beats, creating a more profound emotional experience. Music production in * play dirty * functions as both narrative guide and physiological stimulus. Composers integrate atmospheric synths with subtle percussive undertones, building tension that fluctuates with the story's emotional rhythm. The score does not dominate. It punctuates, accentuates, and reflects a crew's mental state. During heist sequences, percussion simulates heartbeat acceleration, while low-frequency hums evoke subconscious anxiety. Such auditory choices are deliberate investments in emotional engagement. Mixing architecture leverage contemporary spatial design. Using software like ***, Avid Pro Tools ***, and ***, Dolby Atmos ***, configurations, the audio team creates depth and directionality. Environmental cues, sirens, distant footsteps, machinery, rotate through spatial planes, helping the audience track character positioning and movement. This 3D sound environment replicates the tension of being inside a high-risk operation, aligning audience perception with character perspective. Silence is treated as a strategic instrument. Moments devoid of sound carry as much weight as the orchestral underscoring. In scenes of betrayal, planning, or anticipation, the absence of sound heightens attention to small cues, glances, subtle gestures, or environmental changes. This interplay of sound and silence mirrors economic principles. Scarcity amplifies perceived value. A single drop tool or whispered phrase becomes emotionally magnified. Sound layering is complex yet coherent. Ambient noise, diegetic elements, Foley effects, and musical scoring are meticulously balanced to avoid overcrowding. The mix reflects both environmental fidelity and narrative priority, ensuring that emotional beats are reinforced rather than obscured. Achieving this level of precision requires iterative feedback, fine-tuned equalization, and synchronization across multiple departments, all of which function as a technological investment in viewer retention. The soundtrack's thematic motifs subtly reinforce character arcs. Marker's presence is often accompanied by deeper, resonant timbres reflecting experience and gravitas. Jackson's sequences carry higher-pitched, staccato patterns, symbolizing volatility and impulsivity. Secondary characters are motifs that mirror behavioral tendencies, tension, anxiety, loyalty, or opportunism. Music functions as an emotional currency, translating psychological depth into visceral experience. Environmental soundscapes are localized and functional. Rain, wind, air conditioning hum, urban clutter, or desert sand movement are not filler. They are cues for situational awareness. This approach aligns with real-world surveillance and tactical operations, where subtle auditory information can dictate decisions under pressure. The audience receives these cues in parallel, creating a layered comprehension of risk and timing. ADR and dialogue correction are applied with invisible precision. Lines are re-recorded when needed to ensure clarity, maintain tonal consistency, and preserve spatial orientation. The goal is not to make dialogue flawless, but to guarantee that emotional nuance is transmitted accurately, which is essential in a story dependent on deception, negotiation, and rapid problem-solving. Ultimately, play Dirty as sound and music production function as a multidimensional investment. Every audio decision, fidelity, placement, mixing, silence, or motif reinforces narrative clarity, audience immersion, and emotional engagement. It's a masterclass in leveraging technological, artistic, and psychological tools to optimize the ROI of human attention and tension perception. In this way, sound is not just accompaniment, it is infrastructure for storytelling. The marketing strategy for Play Dirty 2025 exemplifies the modern streaming-first paradigm, where audience analytics drive creative and distribution choices as much as they inform ad spend. Rather than relying on traditional theatrical rollouts, Amazon Prime Video approached this release with a data-centric strategy designed to maximize engagement, retention, and subscriber lifetime value. Every teaser, social post, and promotional cut was carefully optimized to align with behavioral patterns and platform algorithms, ensuring that the film would hit the highest possible ROI for both visibility and platform retention. Trailers were staggered to test multiple narrative hooks, tension-driven sequences, character-based humor, and high-octane action. Early AOB testing allowed Prime Video marketing analysts to determine which sequences produce higher click-through rates, completion percentages, and social sharing metrics. This iterative process mirrors startup-style product testing, small, measurable experiments guiding investment before full-scale deployment. Influencer engagement played a key role. Social media personalities with overlapping audiences in crime, thriller, and action content were invited to exclusive previews, interviews, or behind-the-scenes content. These partnerships functioned as high-leverage micro-marketing campaigns, converting followers into viewers while simultaneously generating organic word-of-mouth. Unlike traditional press junkets, this strategy emphasizes engagement metrics, not vanity reach. Demographic targeting relied heavily on Prime Video subscriber data, giving marketing teams granular insight into age, location, genre preference, and viewing patterns. Ads were then customized in real time across multiple platforms, including Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Prime Video's native interface. This precision allows marketing dollars to be allocated toward viewers statistically most likely to watch, complete, and engage with the film rather than broad, less efficient broadcast spending. Paid media investments appeared to have been strategic rather than volumetric. CPM efficiency was likely a key KPI, with analytics guiding frequency, placement, and content type. Metrics such as completion rate, rewatch rate, and retention curves were used to refine messaging and optimize timing. This approach creates a continuous feedback loop, performance-informed creative, and creative-informed performance, echoing principles found in fintech and SaaS optimization. Amazon's platform integration offered unique promotional avenues. Prime Video leveraged push notifications, homepage placements, and targeted recommendations to convert the platform's own subscriber base. This direct channel reduced dependency on third-party advertising while simultaneously providing highly trackable engagement metrics. Each click, each view, each completion could be measured in real time against historical benchmarks, giving the studio immediate insight into ROI. Analytics also informed post-release adjustments. Early data on viewing completion or drop-off points allowed editorial and marketing teams to tweak thumbnail images, adjust featured scenes in trailers, or release short-form clips highlighting high-performing beats. This dynamic optimization mirrors financial portfolio adjustments, where assets are rebalanced based on real-time performance indicators. International strategy extended the analytic rigor. Market segmentation considered regional genre preference, language accessibility, and cultural resonance. Subtitled and dubbed versions were selectively promoted based on measured engagement potential. By applying data-driven logic to global markets, the film's exposure was calibrated to maximize audience penetration while minimizing wasted promotional spend. The promotional strategy also emphasized the star-driven appeal of the cast. Clips highlighting Eddie Murphy, Pete Davidson, and LaKeith Stanfield were used to capture existing fan bases and generate cross-platform virality. Behind-the-scenes content reinforced authenticity, humanizing actors and creating emotional attachment, an indirect yet measurable form of marketing ROI known as parasocial investment star. Partnerships and PR were synchronized with analytics to amplify key moments. Digital interviews, podcast features, and social media Q&A events were strategically timed around critical release dates to reinforce awareness and sustain engagement. Each event's success was quantified using viewership metrics, click-through ratios, and subsequent retention analysis, ensuring the capital spent translated directly into measurable audience impact. Ultimately, Play Dirty as marketing represents a fusion of creative storytelling and financial discipline. Every promotional decision, creative content, platform targeting, timing, and measurement was optimized for maximum emotional engagement and subscription value. In this sense, the film is not just a cinematic product. It is a case study in applied audience analytics, demonstrating how data and creativity can merge to drive both cultural impact and economic performance. Play Dirty 2025 has, in early post-release analysis, garnered a mix of critical appreciation for its character depth and mild critique for pacing inconsistencies, a typical profile for streaming-first heist thrillers. Critics have praised the ensemble cast, Shane Black's signature balance of humor and tension, and the film's grounded approach to crime psychology, while noting that certain sequences favor procedural clarity over high-octane spectacle. From a Cinema Vault perspective, these observations provide insight into how narrative, performance, and execution translate into measurable audience impact. Review aggregators show a generally positive reception, with scores hovering in the mid to high range, approximate 74 to 80%. The film has performed particularly well with niche audiences, crime aficionados, thriller enthusiasts, and fans of character-driven heist stories. This demographic alignment is significant because, in streaming economics, critical consensus is less about immediate box office and more about long-tail engagement and subscriber retention. Positive reviews here function as credibility signals, guiding new viewers to invest time in the film. The awards landscape for Play Dirty is modest but strategically relevant. While not positioned as a major contender for high-profile Oscars, the film is expected to garner nominations in categories that reward technical precision, cinematography, sound design, editing, and ensemble performance. These categories enhance the film's cultural capital, which in turn can feed into streaming longevity. A film recognized for technical excellence often maintains higher retention metrics, renewed recommendations, and platform prestige. Early audience analytics indicate strong engagement metrics. Viewer completion rates, repeat viewership, and cross-platform social conversation suggest that the film resonates with its core audience. In streaming terms, these metrics translate directly into economic value. Higher watch completion improves algorithmic ranking, increasing organic discovery and subscription ROI. Every second a viewer remains engaged is effectively an incremental return on production investment. Cultural reception extends beyond direct viewership. Social media buzz, fan forums, and meme culture have highlighted both the humor-driven exchanges between characters and the moral tension at the heart of the heist. These forms of organic content amplify the film's visibility without additional marketing spend, functioning as an unmeasured yet valuable dividend in the attention economy. Legacy forecasting involves projecting how a film like Play Dirty will accrue value over time, both economically and culturally. From a financial standpoint, continued streaming access, licensing for international platforms, and potential derivative works, limited series, spin-offs, or interactive media offer long-term revenue opportunities. The film's placement within the Parker IP universe ensures residual interest from literary and genre-focused audiences, providing a base for sustained cultural and monetary relevance. The film's technical achievements, cinematography, sound engineering, production design, also contribute to its legacy. Industry professionals often revisit such works as case studies for stylistic, procedural, and technological execution. This elevates Play Dirty from mere entertainment to educational and inspirational resource for aspiring filmmakers, reinforcing its long-tail value and prestige. Streaming-first releases benefit uniquely in legacy building. Unlike theatrical box office performance, which peaks and declines rapidly, platform-based distribution allows content to accumulate visibility over months or years. Metrics like watch time, algorithmic recommendations, and user-generated content can prolong relevance. In this model, critical acclaim, audience engagement, and technical recognition combine to create durable value both monetarily and in brand perception. Syndication and international licensing are particularly relevant. High-quality streaming content is often repurposed for educational content, behind-the-scenes features, or genre-focused programming. These secondary channels expand the film's reach and monetize its intellectual property without additional production costs. As such, the economic footprint of Play Dirty continues growing after the initial release, driven by both cultural resonance and technical craftsmanship. The ensemble cast reputation further amplifies legacy. Eddie Murphy's seasoned gravitas, Pete Davidson's emergent fan base, and LaKeith Stanfield's critical credibility combine to enhance discoverability and sustained interest. In economic terms, the cast functions as a human capital multiplier, increasing the long-term potential for engagement and spin-off content. In conclusion, the early critical and audience reception of Play Dirty suggests a healthy balance of immediate impact and long-term value. Its legacy will likely be defined by technical excellence, character-driven storytelling, and strategic streaming placement. By blending cultural resonance with economic foresight, the film exemplifies a contemporary model for cinematic products that endure, educate, and entertain simultaneously. Play Dirty 2025 is, at its core, a masterclass in the harmony of art, technology, and capital. From Shane Black's direction to the strategic streaming release on Prime Video, every element of production, post-production, marketing, and distribution reflects a calculated balance of creative ambition and financial intelligence. The film reminds us that modern cinema is not solely about narrative spectacle. It is about designing experiences that simultaneously engage, educate, and monetize human attention with precision. Artistically, the film succeeds in blending character-driven storytelling with high-stakes suspense. Each member of the ensemble contributes psychological depth, behavioral complexity, and emotional nuance, resulting in a narrative ecosystem where human decision-making under pressure is central. This focus on authentic psychology ensures that viewers are not merely entertained but are cognitively and emotionally engaged, mirroring the way real-world high-risk operations rely on strategic insight and human judgment. Technologically, Play Dirty demonstrates that tools are as vital as talent. ARRI Alexa LF cameras, DaVinci Resolve color grading, Avid Media Composer editing, and Dolby Atmos sound engineering all converge to create an immersive, tactile cinematic environment. The film's use of practical effects combined with seamless VFX, drones, and spatial sound design exemplifies modern technical craftsmanship. Technology does not overshadow the narrative. It amplifies the emotional and cognitive impact of each scene. Financially, the production exemplifies strategic capital allocation. The mid-tier budget, intelligent location incentives, careful crew allocation, and streaming-first distribution illustrate how a well-managed production can achieve significant economic return without the exposure risk of theatrical release. Amazon Prime Video's platform integration, data-driven marketing, and subscriber analytics convert every decision, from casting to trailer placement, into measurable ROI. The project becomes a living case study in entertainment economics. The synergy between these three pillars, art, technology, and capital, creates a self-reinforcing cycle. Strong character psychology benefits from precise cinematography. Technological execution supports financial efficiency. Strategic budgeting enables creative flexibility. Every aspect of Play Dirty has been orchestrated to maximize both viewer engagement and economic return, demonstrating that modern filmmaking is as much an engineering challenge as an artistic endeavor. In a broader context, the film serves as a lesson in applied human psychology. The depiction of behavioral economics, moral trade-offs, and decision-making under pressure not only entertains but educates. Viewers are invited to examine their own choices, risk tolerance, and response to stress through the lens of carefully structured narrative events. This dual impact, entertainment and subtle education, is a hallmark of intelligent cinema. Marketing and audience analytics further extend the film's impact, transforming data into creative insight. Targeted campaigns, iterative A/B testing, influencer partnerships, and platform-specific engagement strategies ensure that the story reaches those most likely to value it. Real-time feedback informs minor adjustments, demonstrating how contemporary cinema is increasingly responsive, adaptive, and optimized for both emotional and financial resonance. Legacy-wise, Asterisk played Dirty Asterisk positions itself as a reference point for future streaming-first heist thrillers. Its emphasis on authenticity, technical sophistication, and strategic marketing offers a blueprint for how mid-budget films can thrive in a highly competitive content ecosystem. The interplay of psychological depth, technological innovation, and capital prudence ensures that the film's cultural and financial footprint will persist long after initial release. Ultimately, the lesson of Asterisk Play Dirty Asterisk is one of integration. Successful modern cinema is not created by excelling in only one domain, be it storytelling, technological craft, or economic strategy. It is forged in the deliberate alignment of all three. The film demonstrates how narrative, production, and platform strategy can coalesce into a product that is emotionally resonant, technologically impressive, and financially intelligent. If you found this deep dive meaningful, my literature-loving friends, consider liking and subscribing so we can keep decoding the business and beauty of cinema together.